Beautiful. Excuse me, everybody. Well, welcome to the colored pencil pumpkin slice of pumpkin pie drawing. Um, if you don't have a picture of this and want to snap a picture right now, you can. I'm holding it close up to the screen here. Looks like John Paul might be joining too. So I'll let him in.
It looks delicious.
Yay! Yep, he's joining in. Yay, I know I'm excited for pumpkin pie. Pumpkin everything this time of year is my favorite. I don't know about everybody else, but and it's probably not even pumpkin. It's more like, I don't know, like a cinnamon type flavor, but we call it pumpkin. Yeah, I agree. Hello, John Paul. I'm glad you
Hello.
made it. Yay.
I barely made it, Anita.
You're good. I'm so sorry.
It's
Uh,
fine. No
I'm
problem.
I'm sending you in the chat all the colors. There are a lot of colors, but don't worry, we're going to start drawing first.
I got this colors.
Perfect. Perfect, perfect. Okay. So we're going to need our pencil first. And you're going to need to have your paper the what's it called? Landscape wise. I almost said portrait wise, not portrait wise, landscape wise. Also, I just want to say hello to everybody. There's a few people I haven't seen for a while. It's so nice to see Bobby and Nancy. And I think Jason, I think you've been with us before too. So welcome. And everybody else, as I say, the usual suspects, it's so great to have you. For those that don't know, we are recording this. I will send this right out to Karen and Rebecca this evening, and they will get it out as soon as they can. But it might not be the next day. It might not be the next 2 days. I know they've got lots of stuff always going on. But anyway, you will receive the recording. But let's start off with our pencil as far as the drawing portion of it. So I always like to remind you that you want to draw lightly, especially when it comes to colored pencil, watercolor and colored pencil, because you can see the pencil, going through the drawing, and we don't want that. Anyway, we're going to draw what looks like an upside down triangle. So we're going to draw that first for the shape. And what we're going to do at first is we're just going to draw the basic shape of everything. And then as always, we go back and we recreate, or we create a little more of the actual shapes of it. Sorry, excuse my fussing around here with this. All right, so it's going to be a bit of a three-dimensional triangle. So you're going to be able to see the sides. So here's our top. And we're going to have two lines going down the sides. That is the back portion of our pumpkin. And then we're going to start off coming down from the top portion of here. And we're actually going to be drawing the pumpkin pie slice within the crust. So we start off with another curve over here. And you may have to adjust your drawing, but basically we're going to be drawing a triangle. So it's going to look a little bit strange, kind of like this. It's going to look like a floating triangle, but I promise it won't be floating. Now, once we do that, we're going to come back up to the other sides of the crust, and we're going to make sort of some curved lines like this. And then we're going to come back down to the point of our triangle. Let me move this up a little bit. And we're going to make a straight line. Like so. Let me move
It's a
this.
pizza pie.
It's a pizza pie. You got it. It's a pizza pie. I know. You think that's what would be drawing since I came back from Italy, but nope, pumpkin pie. Pumpkin pie all the way. If I had to choose between pizza and pumpkin pie, I would definitely go for the pumpkin pie. I have a sweet tooth like my mother, so
Yum.
agreed. All right, so after that line, now is when we're going to start to make this look three-dimensional. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to go on the inside portion of the side here, and we're going to start to make the part of the crust. So we have a line down here. And we're also going to make a curved line on the other side, like so. And we're going to stop it about right there. Now, this is where you may have to start readjusting your triangle. And you may have to shorten it and make it a little wider here, but we're going to draw this portion first. So you'll see. So now we go inside, back inside, and we're actually going to draw the pie. And that's going to go from here to this point. Let me move this up again. And then we're going to do the same over here. And we're going to meet up with it. Now, I like to make mine a little bit higher over here. So I'm going to erase the sides that we drew. This is how you make it appear a bit wider. And I'm going to make the triangle a little smaller. What that's going to do is it's now going to bring the angle back so that now you have a little more of the sides showing. Now, if it still doesn't look like you want it to, you can extend the back part a little bit wider too. So that would mean this back portion here, the curve, would be a little bit wider. So I just went like this. So then I have to make it just a little bit wider and curve the portion in the back. That's the crust. And we haven't drawn the exact crust all the way around yet. So that's next. So I just readjusted because I wanted my back part of the crust to be a little wider. So literally what I did was I took my triangle, if this is my triangle, my two hands, and then I widened it. So this part, the back part would be longer. That's just if you want it to. Excuse me. Okay, so now we're going to make that crust all the way around.
Perfection.
Except the bottom.
Nice job.
The bottom was burnt.
So we're going to make that crust on both sides, wrap around, and then come to a point in the front. And we extend that pointy line a little bit down. So see what we did? We went like this. We rounded a little bit. Hi. Thought I saw somebody else coming on. Yes, I do. Okay. Kimberly. Welcome, Kimberly. I'm going to copy the information in the chat for tonight, all the colors. There are quite a bit. There are 12, but we're just starting off with our pencil right now and using our 8.5 by 11 or 9 by 12 paper landscape wise. So I hope that's helpful. Okay, so we're going to draw go back to the back part of our pie here, and we're going to draw the crust. So our crust, right, is bumpy. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw the crust bumpy. You can leave some space for the whipped cream if you like, or you can draw the crust first very lightly and then just erase the part when we get to the whipped cream. So let's do that. Let's start with the crust here. So we're going to lighten up the back portion that we drew straight across. Before we continue with that, we're going to make this point of the crust three-dimensional by creating a bend on this side of the crust. We're going to do the same. We kind of already did the same on the other side. But I realized what we have to do is we're going to add a piece up here. So before we do that, we're going to come up over here and we're going to start making our pie crust. So you can go up and down. And then when we get to this part on the right, you're going to make kind of a curve like this. And go inward. And then fix that line to add it in to this portion of the crust on the side here. And all of a sudden you have a three-dimensional piece of pie. And erase any lines that no longer belong. And now we're going to add our dollop of whipped cream. And so here again, we're going to think about the shape and the placement of where it is on our pumpkin pie. So about right here. And we're going to start to curve around. This is the smaller part of the whipped cream. Now yours can look different. So we're just following the basic shape of this whipped cream, and you can erase the lines of the pumpkin pie crust as you're drawing it. So what I'm doing now is I'm creating the shapes of the curves of the whipped cream. So see, here's the front part. I'm erasing the other lines as I go. Going up to make the kind of dollop part right over here. Curve around. I'm going to make a really light shape here just to indicate where I should start making the colored pencils sort of shaded. Oh, I have to make I have to either make my pie a little bigger or my whipped cream a little smaller. Look at me trying to get all the whipped cream on this pie. I do like the whipped cream.
Could you slow down, Matt?
Oh, sure. And adjust some of this. You can make adjustments too, depending on, so basically, if you were to make whipped cream, if this looks a little bit confusing, you can basically take a bunch of, oh, hold on, I can't see what I'm doing. There we go. You can take some spirals and a little bit of a triangle. And that would kind of be your shape. And then you can go around it to create the shape. And then I'm going to erase. And then I'm going to mold it a little bit. Maybe I add a little more of a drop here. And then I add one here. And then maybe there's a little bit of a folded one underneath. And then this one kind of folded over too. So you can do something like that, or you can keep it super simple and go like that. Excuse me.
Trying to think of the name of the big marshmallow in Ghostbusters.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Wait.
Stay Puft.
That's a
Stay
Stay
Puft.
Puft Marshmallow.
Stay
Stay
Puft
Puft.
Marshmallow. I actually used to have, because I'm seriously a child at heart. They made, I don't know, a bunch of years ago, a few years ago, they made a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man like figurine, and I bought it. I brought it home, and Chris was like, "Who's that for?" And I said, "It's for me."
Moi. Oh,
I
moi.
had that thing for a few years to like the right of me. And then I finally got rid of it. I was like started downsizing stuff. And I'm like, I guess you have to go, Mr. Stay Puft. And I gotta tell you, I'm a little sad because every Halloween I think of that Stay Puft. He was just so funny. He has this like big smile. Like, how can you not smile at Stay Puft Marshmallow
I
Man?
know.
You take
John Paul, that looks amazing.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Very nice. Okay, so we've got our whipped cream. You can then refix your pie crust around it, right? Also what you can do, I'm going to make mine just a little bit longer here, going toward the edge of the pie crust. This is my pie. So I'm just fixing it one more time. You may have to do the same if you want. You don't have to. I made lots of, I made some really big whipped cream and decided to keep it, so.
This is a gourmet piece of pie.
Yes, Marcia, you're right. I did not make it because I can't make pie. I made an apple pie once many years ago, and I vowed never to make it again because I had no idea that you had to like, peel all the apples and then you had to slice them. And then you had to, my mom was like, what did you think you had to do? I said, I don't know. I said, but from now on, Soulberry Farms makes a great apple pie. There's so many other places that make a great apple pie.
How about the left side of this pie for the other pie crust?
Yeah.
You forgot to put the lines here.
Which lines?
The left side of the pie.
Oh, this side?
No. That's the right side.
Okay.
That is the left side.
Oh, this side. The lines. You
Yeah.
mean like going up the crust?
Yes.
Like this. Gotcha. I promise we're also going to add those on with colored pencils. But thank you, because that will remind us. Let's put some of, oh, this line here. No, this line here. You're right. This line here for the crust that's folding over. John Paul's right. I got you, John Paul. Sometimes I'm a little slow on the uptake.
It's okay. It'll be fine, Anita.
Thank you. So we're going to add this line here. That's the curve of the crust. Another thing that I'm not good at, but oh my gosh, I do appreciate a delicious crust.
Butter. Lots of butter.
Lots of butter. Yep. Okay, and I'm going to leave this little piece of whipped cream in the corner because I think it's cute. So we're just going to leave him. And we can now get started on the coloring. But one quick thing. I want you to lightly draw in a bit of the shading that was going to happen right underneath. So very lightly. See how light I'm doing that? I just want to remind you that we're going to do a little bit of shading, right? To make that pumpkin pie look even more realistic. Okay. And we are going to get started with our crust. Now, again, I like to always lighten up my lines. We're especially going to be lightening things up when we get to the whipped cream because it is mostly white and blue and yellow. So let's lighten up our crust in the back here. So we're just lightening up our lines by using our eraser and just making those lines a little lighter. And we're going to then grab, when you're ready, you're going to grab your brown. And we're going to go really light with the brown. But what we want to do is get an outside line. And we're going to be mixing in those colors as well. We're going to add in orange. So just very lightly, we're now going to create that line in brown. So again, this is the crust line, and you're going to go all the way around. You're going to recopy the crust in a very light, well, in brown, but use it very lightly. Because then we're going to erase the pencil away. The other thing you want to do is when you're at the bottom of your crust, you can start to make that line a bit wavy because it's pie, right? And here too. So meaning the pie line next to the crust, you can make it a little bit wavy. And then you're going to lightly erase away your pencil. And we're going to put our, we're going to put that aside for now. Oh, let's not forget this side as well. On the right side, the pie crust, and even the inside part here, that little line right there. I'm going to do that too. And then you're going to put your brown aside for now, and you're going to grab your orange. So what we're doing right now is we're just doing a retrace of our pencil lines. Oops. So you're going to pick up your orange. And we're going to do a little bit of a traced line for the pumpkin, the actual pumpkin. But here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put this real close so that you can see. When we trace our lines for the pumpkin pie, do you see that there is a white line along the edge? So we're going to recreate that white line. So we're going to be recreating sort of an extra line with our orange. And here's how we're going to do it. Basically, we are going to be drawing two lines as we go. So the lines that we originally drew for the pumpkin pie, you're going to draw above it. So let's go to our first piece, the slice up top. Not that it's a separate piece, but so what I did was, there's my orange line. That's line is going to be where we're going to erase it eventually. Now that's in orange, and we're going to do that for the other side too. So again, I'm going to trace along that original line. I'm also going to make it a little bumpy because it's pie. You're okay to, trace it all the way to the crust. I'm going to do this darker so you can see it. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Again, the white line is in the middle here and here. So it kind of makes a Y shape. Excuse me. And then you're going to erase your pencil line in the middle, and it's going to look like this.
Oh, yeah.
See that?
Yeah.
Now you're also going to go up towards the left side of the crust, and you're going to make an orange line here. And you're going to shade that in. So again, up towards the left side of the crust, you're going to make an orange line, and you're going to lightly shade it in right there. And then when you're done with that, we're now going to go towards our whipped cream. And we're going to use our orange. Again, this is very light. And we're going to trace around the whipped cream. And then we will erase the pencil. Okay. So again, we've got our orange. We can start at the bottom of the whipped cream, the one that is against the pumpkin pie.
What about the left one for the crust?
This one here?
You do use the lines.
Yep. Yep, we're going to trace over that too. You got it. So we're going to trace the whole thing in orange. Now you want it to be light because, again, we're going to be adding different shaded colors later on. But for now, we're going to kind of retrace those basic shapes in orange, and then you're going to erase away the pencil line that's underneath it. And it's going to look a little bit lighter. I need a little more erased. There we go.
Anita, when you're done erasing, can you show a close-up,
Sure.
please?
So that line is, that's orange.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. little, there we go. Got a little out of focus there. And what I'm probably going to do is when we start shading the whipped cream, I may decide to add another fluffy part. And you can do that as long as you keep your lines very light. All right, so we have all the tracings. We now want to put the orange down, and we're going to grab our golden yellow, and we're going to start off with our crust in our golden yellow. And so what we're going to do is we're going to be making the entire crust this light shade of the golden yellow. So what I've done with the crust on the left side, there's a little bit of some white space here as it hits the pumpkin pie. So you want to shade as if you're going to create another little bit of a white line, just like we did with the pumpkin pie. We haven't colored in the pumpkin pie yet, but we're starting with the crust. So what I'm going to do is go a little bit more coloring towards the left side, the edge of where the crust is. I'm going to go really close in now. Oh, why did that flip? One second.
There we go.
Yeah, I don't know why it flipped like that. I wonder, see, every once in a while the settings change on itself, I guess when it updates. So I wonder if that's what that is, and I have to go back in and kind of make sure my screen is locked. All right, so doing the whole crust here using this golden yellow, and you can see it's kind of light right now, right? It's a light application of it. And when you're ready, you're also going to grab your tan and your orange. So you want to have your tan and your orange at the ready.
Mahogany.
And eventually mahogany, you got it.
What do we use if we don't have tan?
If you don't have tan, you can use your brown very lightly because we're going to be adding brown in the crust as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so if you don't have your tan, you're going to use your brown. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start adding a little bit of color to the edges of the curving.
I had the coral for like a 10. See?
That'll work. Perfect. Yeah, that's perfect, John Paul. So on the left side, we're going to be adding a little bit of this tan to the curved parts. And then along the edge where we added a little bit of that orange here. So we're building up the layer. It's still too yellow, but we'll be fixing that. Again, using a little bit of this tan. We're going to go along the edges and shade with the crust on top of the yellow. See how it's getting a little bit darker on top of the yellow? And we're going to come over to the other side of the crust. And we're going to shade on the inside of the crust to make it look like it's darker against where the pie would be. So, and I'm kind of curving the strokes when it gets to the top portion of the crust here. And then again, we're going to sort of shade up against the outline on the other side of the crust. Again, using the tan or brown. And we're going to do the same along the edge of where the pumpkin pie is too. So again, what we're doing is we're taking tan or brown, something to make the crust a little less yellow. And we're going a little bit shaded darker along the edges of the crust lines. Excuse me. Oh yeah, John Paul, that is looking great. I'm telling you, each layer is just going to make it come to life. You're going to want to eat it off of your page.
Really funny.
Thanks. Sometimes I feel like I am. So you're also going to then take your orange. And so we're going to start adding to, the cooked, to make it look like it's cooked around the edges of the crust. So I'm going to add a little bit of orange here on top. Right? See, so it's going to give it a little bit more of like a reddish look. And I'm going to do that to around the bumps here of the crust. Right there. And then I like to outline the crust in orange again. So I mentioned, we're going to have a few colors that we're outlining with, and it's going to give it a lot of depth. It's going to make it look realistic. So when you're finished with doing a little bit of your shading with the orange on top of your golden yellow, you're going to outline the crust in orange, the whole thing. So you can come on over to the other side. And it's a light application. And this time we're going to outline where that curve is in the crust as well. And then we're going to shade underneath it using orange. So again, this orange, we're adding a little bit of some more color to the crust. You probably never really thought that crust was this, had this many shades in it, right?
Hmm. The crispy crust.
It's a crispy crust.
Hmm.
That's right.
Anita,
Yeah.
when we did the brown on the right side
Mm-hmm.
of the top of the crust, did we also do it on the other side?
We did it on this side,
Lower down,
here,
down.
here.
Yeah, that whole down and to the point of the triangle. Did we do that in brown?
This part, not yet.
But we did the other side
Yes.
in brown. Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Mm-hmm. And we're gonna leave that crust for now. And we're now gonna start with our orange, and we're gonna create a light shade of orange on our pumpkin pie. So this is gonna probably help you a little bit in fleshing out a little more of the pumpkin pie. So I'm going really light. The reason I'm going really light with the orange, it's going to look a bit like almost like a peach color, is that, again, we have a lot of layers to add into here, including the golden yellow. So we don't want to have it be so dark yet that we can't add those colors. So again, this is the orange, and we're going to do that on all 3 sides. Remembering not to color in for right now in the white spaces that we created. All right, here is the one on the right. And we're going to start to eventually close up a little bit of that white space as we add more layers. But even this light application of the orange is going to help make it look a little more like the pumpkin pie. Okay, and we're going to take our orange again, and we're going to delve a little bit into our whipped cream. So we're putting some layers on, our beginning layers, in each parts of these sections.
Check it out.
Ooh, John Paul, it's looking yummy.
Yeah, it looks yummy.
It's
Thank
getting,
you.
you're welcome. It's getting yummier. I love it. So we're gonna take a little bit of our orange, and so really, really light, because we're going into our whipped cream. I'm gonna show the whipped cream really close. You see all the colors in there?
Can you hold that for a minute? I want to get a picture of that.
Yeah, yeah. If anybody wants to get a picture.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah. So the colors that you're seeing are yellow, tan. If you don't have tan, the brown. We also add a little bit of brown. The sky blue, and a little bit of the gray.
Lovely.
And thank you. And the orange. So we're going to grab the orange first, and we're going to very lightly create the shading. So I'm coming over here and drawing another curved line, and I'm going to show that. I'm going to go really close in because I have to go lightly. And then I'm going to go on the side and make strokes of orange for the shading. See what I did there? Do you see how light that is? That's with the orange. And I'm going to do that again along the bottom edge, or before the bottom edge. So see that? Do you see how
Mhm.
light that is? So here,
Mhm.
and then a little bit here, I created another line ever so slightly. This is the shading, the shadows of the whipped cream. Excuse me. I'm really sorry. This cough is so annoying.
It's a COVID cough.
It's yeah, it's leftover.
Yeah. Shame.
Yeah, leftover.
Hot tea.
I'm drinking hot tea. I'm having spraying propolis in my bee propolis in my throat. Oh my gosh, I'm taking vitamins. I'm doing all the things.
You're such a good patient.
I try. I try. It's
Are,
getting
are you feeling better?
I am. Thank you, John Paul. I feel fine. I had COVID a few weeks ago when we were in Italy. And then I got I guess a respiratory infection from that. And then the cough has lingered. So I feel fine. I just have this cough sometimes when I breathe in. So thank you.
Why don't you try this cough drop?
You know what? I'm gonna keep taking cough drops. That's a good idea. I have these cough drops with honey in them. Apparently, honey is supposed to be really good for you.
Yeah, I like them.
Yeah, me too. Oh, the last step, Sandy, that we did is we picked up our orange and we very lightly created some shading for our whipped cream. So right here, I made a curved line and then shaded underneath it because that's the shadow.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then here I made a line there. Again, this is very lightly. This is with the orange. And then shaded a little bit on the line. And then we're about to make another section. So I'm gonna again reference this one. So we're gonna make sort of this shape, kind of like drawing in a very light triangular shape. So that would be here. And then a little bit shading. This is really testing your skills using the colored pencils. But see, already, just what we did here is starting to make it look a little more three-dimensional. And then we're going to shade. Right, Julie? I know. So any kind of whites are really complex in the colors. I think whites are some of my favorites because it's in order to make it white. I mean, there's just all these different shades in the shadows. You know, if you take a look at you know, if you're wearing a white shirt and it's hard because you just think, oh, it's white, but it's not. There's a lot of blue, there's pinks, there's some purple. It all depends. Okay. So that's what we're doing. So getting to this part here, this part that is, you know, more triangular. So we're going to shade a little along the edge of it. Again, this is just with orange. And then we're going to create another darker line. It's a triangle. And then shade inside of that. Excuse me. This is all laying the foundation for all the colors. And I promise it'll go a lot faster once we start adding in the other colors. Excuse me. And then we're going to come over here in the whipped cream over here. See where this line, this curved line is? We're going to do some shading under that too. Kind of like a cylinder, right? Like a kind of cylinder curve there. And then we're going to finally get up to this point, and we're going to shade from the point, and then in this section like that. Now, I made mine a little too dark here with the line, meaning with the orange. So I'm going to just erase a little of that so that it's not such a sharp line. And look at that. It is starting to look a bit like whipped cream. Very nice, John Paul. Yours looks really good. Beautiful. But we're going to go back now to the crust, now that we have the basics of this down. And we're going to grab our blue. So that sky blue, we're going to grab our sky blue. You want to make sure you have more of a point than what I do. So I'm going to make mine a little more sharp. So more like that. In case you ever wonder what that noise is, I put all of my shavings in a sort of a glass container, and then I throw them away eventually. I don't know why I do it that way. I just always have. Thanks, Julie. So we're going to take this blue, and first what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of the shading outside of the pumpkin pie. Remember we made that sort of shape? So we're going to very lightly just shade in with that blue. So you can see it's so light. That's with the blue. And when you're done with that blue, you're going to put it down and you're going to grab your gold and yellow. And you're going to go on top of that blue. Again, so we're just kind of shading in a bit of the shadow shape over there. So again, you're going to pick up your gold and yellow. And you're going to go on top of the blue. And when you're done that, you're going to pick up your gray. And you're going to make strokes of shading. And you're going to go on top of those colors with singular strokes with the gray. But then when you've finished that, you're going to take your gray and you're going to make the shadow shape darker right underneath the pie. And so this is gray. So I'm now taking the gray and shading. And you can kind of see what that's doing, right? It's sort of like a shaded area within a shadow. And it would be darker closer to where the object is. So the shadow would get lighter around the edge there. So we're going to leave that a little bit lighter. See how I keep going back and shading a little closer to where the bottom of the pie is. And there's your shadow. We probably want to add a little bit of orange to that too. But again, just some strokes on top. Single strokes, really light. Because again, shadows are not just plain black or gray. There's a little bit of orange in there. I might add a little more closer to, again, the darker section. Okay, we're going to go inside the pumpkin pie. So we're going to grab our golden yellow and we're going to go on top of the pie first. And we're now going to grab that yellow and add it to the top of the orange, on top of the orange. And you're going to get more of a golden color now. You're also going to do it to both both of the other sides of the pumpkin pie. And the side on the left is a little more golden color than the one on the right.
Nita, does direction matter for texture on this?
So on the one on the top, the direction matters for the one on the top.
Horizontal?
Yeah, so it's going to be where you're doing the strokes, kind of like from left to right.
Okay.
The direction doesn't matter yet on the other ones. It
Okay.
will as we add the colors.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Excuse me. Ooh, very nice, John Paul. It's getting creamy. So we're now going to grab our pink. And so we're going to start adding pink now to the top. Oops, my pink broke, but I'm going to resharpen it. So again, we're going to be picking up our pink and we are going to be adding that to the top layer. And again, so your strokes are going to be going back and forth. And you're going to want to still show, for right now, the yellow that's in there. So I kind of take it and I kind of create strokes, like I lift up my pencil up and down. And then we're going to now go into, oh, wow, Marcia, that looks amazing. Yep. And I think we're going to add it a little bit to the whipped cream eventually too, but not yet. But we're now going to go into the left side of our pumpkin pie. And this is where, so we're going to start creating different colored sections as we're layering. So again, I'm going to show you this. So basically, there's some pink here along the edge. And then we kind of actually create sort of another pinkish line here. So I will show you. So let's start up here and we're going to make a pink curved line. See that? That's a pink curved line. Can you see that there? And then underneath it, you're going to shade pink. And then you're going to go down straight where the edge is here. Like so. And then you're also going to do it toward the back end and the bottom. So basically, you're kind of going around that pie shape. And you're using the pink a little bit for some shading. Ooh, very nice, John Paul. Beautiful. And you're going to put your pink aside. And you're going to pick up your mahogany. So for those that don't have the mahogany, you can pick up a dark red and a brown. Yep, that'll work, John Paul. Absolutely. So mahogany is a brownish red. We're going to start adding in our darks. We're going to start with our crust. And we're going to start here in the left corner. And you're going to add some dark to that corner. And then you're going to go on the line and also add some dark. And you're going to do the same to the next bump. And do shading as well. And then a little bit behind your whipped cream. So again, this is all with the, I almost said brick red. The
Mahogany.
The mahogany, thank you. And you see what that's already doing. And then you're also going to add it to that section that is near the crust, up against the pie, and also where the whipped cream is. So that's right there. So you can see the pumpkin pie is getting more layers. We're also going to use this color now to go do some more outlining on the left side of the crust. And then you're now going to add some colored spots along the edge of the crust, because basically what you're doing is, the crust is bumpy. And so these spots are the darker, kind of like the darker shading of when the crust is kind of like bubbling inward and outward. So you're going to want to add a few spots of those. Also along the side here. You can even add some bumps if you want. I added a bump there. And you can even go on the inside of the crust and add some of those. So see what I'm doing here, adding little shaded areas. That's just with the, you know, this red, this mahogany. And then we're going to do the same as we flip to the other side of the crust. And as we get on the right side, remember underneath this part, you're going to shade a little more. And then to make that rounded part here look a little more rounded, you can add a little bit of a line here and some shading toward the circular part of the crust. And then when you're done, you're going to add some shading right here in the back of the crust where it's up against your whipped cream. Excuse me. And we're going to add a shadow over here. You were probably wondering, when's that shadow going to come in? Oh yeah, nice, John Paul. So we're going to add a curved line here. And then still kind of lightly using your mahogany, you're going to shade in that area. But we're not going to get real dark with it yet because we still have some colors to add to it. And you're going to go from the shadow and then you're going to go underneath using the mahogany underneath your whipped cream. This is with the mahogany. So you're going to kind of outline with the mahogany. And then as you're coming towards the left side here, we're going to add some mahogany lines like this. Those are going to be, so this is the actual, the shading of the pie a little bit. So we add maybe like 3 lines here. And then you're going to take this mahogany and shade just a little bit up against next to the left side of those lines. You're going to shade a little. And then guess what? We're going to make another line. Again, this is with the mahogany, so we just made that line. And then we're going to make one more like that. And we're going to add a little bit of shading to the left side of this line here using the mahogany. So what this is doing, this part that's shaded, is part of the pie that is a little bit sort of like lifting up a little. And then we're going to keep with this mahogany. And we're going to come into the right side here. And we're going to start making some sort of lines like we're doing right now. We're going to make some darker areas inside the pie, and it's all going to be kind of be going this way. So again, this is with the mahogany. So first we start up against this area, and we're going to go a little bit darker. And we're going to start making it a little bit darker using kind of skipping spaces, right? So always a little bit darker towards where the corner, kind of where it comes to a kind of like a curved point. And along the edges of where the crust meets the actual pie filling.
Hmm.
And we're going to then put it down. Very nice, John Paul. And we're going to pick up our tan. So if you don't have tan, you can use your brown, but very lightly. So we're going to pick up our tan and we're going to go in the left side section. And we're going to make, again, kind of spots that are very similar to what we did here with the maroon or mahogany. I keep calling it anything but mahogany. And we're going to make like little pieces of shaded areas by going up and down. And also kind of the other way too. So I'm going up and down and then also doing strokes like this. So basically what you're going to get is different shades that we've added here.
Didn't Diana Ross sing a song called Mahogany?
I think so.
Yeah, think of it that way.
That's a good idea. I love it. And then we're going to go in the second part here. We're going to add some more shades on top of this too.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then we're going to put our tan down. And we're going to grab our red orange. So we're going to be adding a little bit of some brightness right where the curve of the shadow is happening. And then you're going to fill in that shadow with the red orange. That's the first layer of that shadow. So again, this is the red orange, and you're going to go in the shadow. And then you're also going to go up against where your whipped cream is with that red orange. Now you're also going to take that red orange and you're going to go in this section. And you're going to add some red orange to the top of that area. And then just ever so lightly go into the crust area right above it.
Hmm.
Ooh, very nice, John Paul. Now we're going to grab our golden yellow because we're going to start burnishing. And basically, you're going to go into the top portion of your pie here. And you're going to very darkly grab your yellow, golden yellow, and you're going to go on top to kind of blend all those colors.
Mm.
And you're going to start to add more towards the white portion of where we left it all white. Now you're going to use this yellow in all 3 sections. You know, pressing hard. That's the first layer, or I should say, first layer of burnishing. Excuse me.
Mm, mm, mm.
Your next step is you're going to now pick up your orange. And again, so you're going to start burnishing, which means going darker. On top of that yellow. And again, you know, making strokes like this so that your yellow, golden yellow, is still shining through a bit. Now, in the sides of your pie, you're going to be burnishing with this orange, but you're not going to be covering the entire thing like we just did with the top. You're going to be going into the darker areas. So up against where you have the white lines and also against where all of the edges of the crust are meeting up with the pie. And then you can go inside and remember how we were adding those lines? You can then add lines using your orange. See how I'm, you know, sort of going a little darker in sections. Oh, wow. Beautiful, John Paul. And you're going to start doing it in the other side as well. And starting to kind of close the gap of the whites by creating another line that's using your shading that's a little bit closer on top of the white area. And here again, you're making shaded areas by picking up your pencil and shading a little darker in some sections. And some of those sections, again, are close to where the crust and the pie meet. So that would be like along the bottom and along the top of each section. So you can see it getting a bit oranger now. And when you're ready, you're going to pick up your gray. And what we're doing with our gray is we're going to go on the left side here, right up against where the pie is. We're going to add a little bit of some shading of the gray right on top of the orange. And then we're taking that gray and making a gray line here. And then we'll add some little more gray shading in this area. We're also going to go on the right side here. And we're going to add some gray shading right along the edge of where the pie line is. And then we're going to add some spots like this along the edge of where the crust meets. So again, this is gray. So see, I'm kind of outlining a little bit in gray here. And then I'm going to skip some space and basically outline along the edge as it's coming up towards this section of the pie. And we're going to do the same kind of in the corners. And that's, again, this is the shadow that would be in between where the pie filling is and the crust. There's just a little bit of some shadowing here. And then up against where it meets, right here. We're still going with that gray. And we're going to add that gray on the right side of the crust here. And we're going to create some stripes of shading like this. This is with gray. Excuse me. And you're going to put that gray down for a little bit, and you're going to pick up your golden yellow. Ooh, very nice, John Paul. I know we're running a few minutes late just because I wanted to make sure to let everybody in. Now this yellow, you're going to very lightly go into your whipped cream. We're going to switch to our whipped cream. And you're going to very lightly and quickly add that color to the orange of your whipped cream and then put it down. And you're going to grab your sky blue. And what we're going to do with the sky blue is we're going to ever so gently start to do an outline of inside the whipped cream. So the parts that are defined a little bit, we're going to use just very lightly that blue to do a little bit of outlining. But it's really light outlining.
Where's the blue at?
Oh, so it's going to look green. So here, 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 a little bit here, here, and here. Very nice. And then you're going to then take your blue and you're going to create some very light shaded strokes on top of those colors. Very light. And you're also going to then take your gray and you're going to also go on top. Again, those shaded areas using strokes.
Ta-da!
Oh, it's getting there. And then we're going to grab our reddish orange. And you're going to get very dark going up against, kind of like right underneath. Remember where we started doing the shading for underneath your whipped cream. And then you're taking that reddish orange and you're now going to go on top of the pie in sections to make it a little bit darker. So for instance, here, and then I'm going to skip space and add it to the left side of this area, doing some shading. And then on the left side, again, all where you added the orange to make it a little bit more vibrant, you can add this color. And when you're ready, you're going to grab your brown. So our last two colors are brown and black. And we're going to go up against where our whipped cream is again, and the crust. And you're going to add a little bit more browning to that area behind it. Excuse me. If you want, you can even, outline a little of your whipped cream using very light application of your brown. But we're going to start outlining the bottom of our whipped cream with the brown. And you want to make sure to take some of that brown into where your whipped cream is hitting the pie. See a little bit there, I just added a bit of that brown. And then you're going to start getting a bit darker using this brown toward the edge of the pie for the shadow. That's the first layer of this shadow. We're going to add black when we're done. And then again, the striping, kind of like that stripe shading that's going up in back of the crust. And then anywhere where you want it to be a little bit darker, you're going to take that brown, and I would suggest like right along where, again, the pie is in the corners. You're going to add that brown, just a little touch of it. So again, where the crust meets the pie, add a little brown to the edges of the bumps of the crust. You can even add some little bit to the crust with some shading. And then I like to add a little bit to the left side of this section of the pumpkin pie, just some light shading of brown to make it a little more golden-like, golden brown. And then here again, I like to do, again with the brown, a little bit of an outlining on the outside of the crust where the shadow is, the shadow shape. Add a little bit of brown to that. We're gonna grab our yellow green real quick. And you're gonna, this is gonna sound strange, but you're gonna add it to the shadow.
Yellow
of the
green to
big-
the right side of this pie.
Yep, yellow green to the right side of the pie where the shadow shape is under the,
Okay.
yep. And then also on top of the brown where the crust is.
Uh, can you show me about the light green? I mean,
Yep.
green for the right side.
Yep. So here's the light green. I added
No,
some
no, no, no.
here.
I'm at the bottom of the light green, right over.
Oh, here. Yep.
No, no, that's not it.
Yep, just a
No,
little bit there.
no, that's not what I meant.
Oh,
The side.
this here?
No, keep going. No, go to the bottom. You see the bottom over here? Oh, no,
Here?
that's the left side. This one's right. Down. A little bit more.
Right here?
No, a little bit more. I'm pointing at the finger. A little bit more. No, the bottom one, really bottom.
This here.
No, not here, but the real bottom.
This bottom here.
At the middle one.
Okay. A little bit here.
Oh,
Yeah, just a little bit of green right here. On top of the brown.
gotcha.
Yep. Thanks, Kim. And then you're finally going to grab black. And this is our finisher to make everything, some of the darks really pop. So this is black. So the black is first going to go in the middle of this crust area here, kind of like an outline.
Actually, what I do is just like this. Okay, over here.
And then here too. Remember how we outlined, excuse me. We're going to outline one more time with the black around where the whipped cream is, up against the pie. And then we're going to add some shading. Again, this is with the black, right in this, remember this area that we did? We're going to make it a little bit darker in that area.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we're going to go into the shadow again, right on top. And we're going to use the black, but we're going to curve a little bit when it gets to this section of the pie. And you can add a few shaded areas in this section using the black on this side. This is just making some areas a little bit darker. And then I like to kind of do a little bit of an outline, a bumpy outline using the black on the bottom of the crust. And voila, we have our pumpkin pie. I'm going to remove my spotlight and invite you all, if you are interested, to show yours. I'm just moving my colored pencils here. So you can unmute. Julie, that looks amazing.
You forgot I stopped recording.
Oh yeah, thank you.